Chosen one. Have you ever paused and asked yourself, what is happening to me? Why do you feel disconnected from people you used to love? Why do conversations feel hollow? Why does your heart feel heavier, yet your mind clearer than ever? It's because you're not breaking down. You're breaking through. You're not losing your mind. You're waking up spiritually. Your soul is shaking off centuries of programming, trauma, and illusion. You are stepping into your true, divine nature, even if the path feels confusing, lonely, or chaotic. This journey isn't for the faint-hearted, it's for the chosen ones, those who are called to shift not just their lives, but to ripple change through generations. Today, we're diving deep into 7 powerful chapters that will help you understand exactly what you're experiencing and why it's the greatest blessing disguised as discomfort. Before we begin, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because what you're about to hear isn't just content, it's a spiritual transmission meant for the chosen ones. If you're already feeling something stir in your spirit, if this message resonates deep within your soul, drop the number 77 in the comments below. That's not just a number, it's a divine code, a confirmation to the universe that you are in alignment with truth and ready to fully embrace the next phase of your awakening. Only those truly chosen will feel the urge to stay through the entire message. And those who do, they'll receive more than just words. They'll experience clarity, rebirth, and divine remembrance. You're not here by accident. This message was timed for you. And as your gifts begin to surface and the ego begins to fall away, this truth will unlock in layers. So don't be surprised if you come back to this again and again. Each time, your soul will catch something new, something deeper, something sacred that was hidden the first time. Chapter 1. The Dissolution of the Old You. At the beginning of your spiritual awakening, you may feel like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, caught between the life you've always known and something unseen, yet deeply calling you forward. It's like standing in a threshold where one foot is still grounded in the reality you were conditioned to accept, while the other foot is stepping into a realm of higher truth, deeper knowing, and divine alignment. And in that space, everything feels uncertain. You may feel disoriented. You may feel like you're unraveling. And in many ways, you are. Because the told you shut, the version shaped by survival, societal programming, and silent suffering, is beginning to crack open. This is the part of you that was built to cope, not to thrive. The part that learned how to shrink in rooms that couldn't handle your light. The part that performed for approval, stayed silent to avoid conflict, and settled for less just to feel safe. That version of you served a purpose. It protected you. But it was never your highest expression. It was never your full truth. And now, it can no longer survive in the energy you're stepping into. So you start to feel things falling away. The fake smiles you once wore with ease now feel like emotional suffocation. The shallow conversations you once tolerated now feel unbearable. The dreams you once chased start to feel hollow because they were never truly yours. You begin to see how much of your life was built on trying to be accepted instead of being authentic. And as that realization deepens, it shakes the foundation of everything you once believed about yourself. This isn't just a season of change, it's a sacred death. A death of illusions, a death of codependency, a death of false identities. And yes, it's painful. You may cry without knowing why. You may isolate without intending to. You may feel like you're losing your grip on reality. But chosen one, what you're losing is the illusion, not the truth. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. This is the divine process of shedding what's not you, so your true self can finally rise. It's not destruction, it's divine reconstruction. You are being stripped of everything that was never aligned with your soul's design. Everything that dimmed your radiance, everything that tethered you to fear, everything that kept you stuck in cycles that didn't serve you. This sacred dismantling will touch every area of your life. You'll start losing friendships that were tied to your unhealed identity. You'll outgrow environments that once felt like home, but now feel like cages. You'll feel the urge to walk away from anything that demands you betray your truth. And while that can feel like a storm, it's actually a spiritual cleansing. So mourn what you must. Honor the journey that got you here. But do not cling to what your soul is asking you to release. Because you're not going backward, you're being reborn into the life you were always meant to live. A life where your light isn't hidden, it's honored. A life where your truth isn't silenced, it's celebrated. A life where you no longer have to perform to be loved, you simply have to be. So let it all fall away, chosen one. Let the old you dissolve with grace and gratitude, because the real you, the powerful, intuitive, radiant soul that God created, is finally stepping forward. And what awaits you on the other side of this sacred death is divine alignment, supernatural clarity, and a peace you've never known before. Chapter 2. Heightened emotions and spiritual sensitivity. As the awakening deepens, one of the first noticeable shifts you'll experience is a dramatic increase in emotional and energetic sensitivity. You'll begin to feel everything, and I mean everything, on an entirely new level, with an intensity that may surprise or even unsettle you at first. You may find yourself crying unexpectedly, not because something is wrong in the physical sense, but because your heart is releasing lifetimes of pain, generations of suppressed emotions, and deeply buried truths that are now rising to the surface. You'll sense the tension in a room, even when no words are spoken. You'll pick up on dishonesty, even when it's masked behind a smile. You'll feel emotionally drained in crowds or overwhelmed in environments that once felt normal and comfortable. This is not emotional instability. This is a spiritual recalibration. Your nervous system is adjusting to higher frequencies. Your energy field is becoming more refined and more responsive. Your soul is waking up to vibrations, frequencies, and subtle truths that were once hidden or ignored in your previous state of consciousness. Chosen one, your emotions are not a burden. They are divine messages from your higher self, guiding you toward healing, alignment, and deeper self-awareness. That anxiety you feel around certain people, that's your spirit alerting you to energetic misalignment. That discomfort in your old environment, that's your soul whispering, "You've outgrown this. It's time to elevate." You are beginning to develop spiritual discernment, the sacred ability to read energy, sense spiritual intent, see beyond appearances, and feel what the physical eyes cannot perceive. And yes, this can feel overwhelming at first. You may wonder why you can no longer tolerate certain conversations, places, or people like you used to. Why small talk feels soul-depleting. Why toxic energy now feels like it pierces straight through you. But understand this. Your vibration is rising. You are no longer in resonance with what drains you. You are now aligned with what awakens, heals, and empowers you. You are becoming an emotional alchemist. You're learning how to transmute pain into power, grief into grace, sensitivity into supernatural strength. And your heart, though more exposed, is also becoming more resilient and divinely intelligent. This emotional sensitivity is not a curse, it's your new divine protection. It serves as your internal compass, filtering out energies that are not for you and guiding you toward connections, experiences, and environments that nourish your soul's growth. And in time, you'll not only adjust to this new awareness, you'll master it. You'll use it to heal, to uplift, to guide others toward their own awakening. What once overwhelmed you will become your greatest asset, your spiritual superpower. So don't numb it. Don't apologize for it. Don't try to shrink or suppress it. Don't call yourself too much for feeling deeply in a world that often encourages numbness. You were not created to be numb. You were created to be fully awake, fully alive, fully divine. And in this heightened emotional and energetic awareness, you are stepping into a new kind of power, one that isn't rooted in dominance or control, but in compassion, clarity, and sacred sensitivity. Because, chosen one, the more deeply you feel, the more deeply you heal, and the more divinely you lead. Chapter 3. Reality feels strange. You're seeing through the illusion. One of the most unsettling, yet powerful parts of spiritual awakening is realizing how much of the world you once accepted as normal is anything but. Suddenly, what used to feel stable begins to feel hollow. You look around and see people moving through life on autopilot, numbing their pain with distractions, masking their wounds with achievements, and measuring their worth by things that cannot truly satisfy the soul. You begin to notice the performative nature of society, how often people say what sounds good instead of what's real. You see the smiles that don't reach the eyes, the laughter that hides deep sorrow, and the ambition that's driven more by fear than purpose. It feels like a fog is lifting, and in its place, clarity arrives. But not the comforting kind. You see the programming. You see the systems built on control, scarcity, and fear. You see how the media manipulates thought, how culture glorifies burnout, how people are taught to compete, compare, and conform from the moment they are born. This realization can shake you to your core. It can make the world feel unfamiliar, even hostile. It can cause you to question everything: your career, your relationships, even your own desires. But this is not madness. This is sacred vision. You're not losing touch with reality. You're finally touching the truth beneath the illusion. You've been given spiritual eyes, and now you see through the surface. You're no longer hypnotized by glamour, fame, money, or status. You're no longer deceived by appearances or persuaded by empty promises. And though this awareness may isolate you at first, it will also liberate you. Because the more you awaken, the less you are swayed by lies, and the more you become anchored in what's eternal: truth, love, integrity, and divine purpose. Chosen one, this shift will make you feel out of place. You may wonder if you've changed too much, if you've gone too far, if there's any way to go back. But understand this: you were never meant to fit into a world built on illusion. You were born to rebuild it with truth. You are here to wake others up, not by force, but by embodying what's real. This clarity may cost you comfort. It may shake your identity, but it will give you something priceless: spiritual freedom. And with that freedom, you will not only navigate life more consciously, you'll begin to create from a higher place. You'll start building relationships rooted in soul, not ego. You'll choose paths that feel right in your spirit, not just your mind. And you'll carry a light that quietly exposes darkness everywhere you go. That, chosen one, is how revolutions begin, not with loud voices, but with awakened hearts. Chapter 4. Loss is a sign of alignment, not failure. As your awakening continues, you'll begin to experience an unexpected wave of loss. People you once loved will drift away. Connections you once fought to keep will dissolve. Opportunities that you once believed were meant for you will pass you by. It may feel like life is falling apart. You might question yourself, thinking, "What did I do wrong?" You might even ask, "Why is everyone leaving?" But chosen one, hear this in your spirit. You are not being abandoned. You are being aligned. God is not subtracting from your life. He's refining it. Everything that is falling away was never meant to last in the next chapter of your journey. Some people were only assigned to the old version of you, the one that tolerated dysfunction, ignored your intuition, and hid your light. Now that you're rising into your truth, anything built on falsehood cannot survive. Friendships that were rooted in trauma bonding, manipulation, or codependency will naturally crumble. Relationships that were built on potential but lacked purpose will dissolve. Jobs, habits, and environments that once felt familiar will start to feel suffocating. And it's painful, it's lonely, but it's holy. Because this is God's way of protecting your promise. He is removing what would distract you, delay you, or damage you. He's making space for new connections, ones that nourish your soul, respect your boundaries, and align with your divine purpose. This pruning process may look like rejection, but it's really redirection. It may feel like isolation, but it's really incubation. It may seem like endings, but it's really a divine beginning, one that will make sense only in hindsight. Every closed door is a sign that something higher is opening. Every faded friendship is proof that you've outgrown what no longer serves you. Every disappointment is heaven's whisper that something greater is being prepared for you. So don't chase what God is trying to release. Don't cling to what was only meant to teach, not stay. Instead, trust the sacred unraveling. Grieve if you must, cry if you need. But know this, your soul is not losing. It's being positioned for more. More peace, more purpose, more alignment, more love that mirrors your growth, not your wounds. Chosen one, this season may feel like emptying, but it's just God clearing the path for everything your soul truly deserves. And what's on the way? It will not require you to shrink, chase, or compromise, because it will be ordained. Chapter 5. Your gifts begin to surface. Chosen one, as the veil lifts and your spirit reawakens, something powerful begins to stir within you. Something ancient, something sacred, something that's been dormant but not dead. You begin to sense things others overlook. You start having prophetic dreams, visions that feel too vivid to be coincidence. You wake up at 3 a.m., feeling as if your spirit is being summoned. You notice numbers repeating on clocks, receipts, license plates, 111, 444, 777, almost as if the universe is speaking directly to you. And it is. You are being activated. Your spiritual gifts are being restored. Gifts you carried long before this lifetime. Gifts that were hidden for your protection until the appointed time. Now that your consciousness is rising, these gifts can no longer be suppressed. Your whole intuition sharpens. You begin to feel people's true intentions before they speak. You begin to discern spirits, to read energy, to hear divine instruction, even in silence. You become sensitive to light, to truth, to God's voice, whispering between the noise. These are not hallucinations. They are revelations. You are not imagining things. You are remembering who you truly are. You've always been different, set apart. and the world tried to make you forget. They told you to tone it down, to be realistic, to fit in. But now that the illusion is breaking, your original self is rising, and along with it, your divine gifts. You may begin to feel compelled to help others, to heal, to speak truth, to write, create, teach, or guide. You may feel a pull toward ancient wisdom, toward scripture, dreams, nature, energy, the stars. Don't ignore it. These are your spiritual fingerprints revealing your divine assignment. You are not just a body walking the earth. You are a soul with a heavenly blueprint, sent here with intention. Maybe you're a healer, someone who can transmute pain into light. Maybe you're a seer, one who perceives what others are blind to. Maybe you're a light bearer, called to bring clarity to confusion. Maybe you're a bridge, walking between the spiritual and physical realms to bring divine truth into human understanding. The world won't always understand you, but the right people will feel your frequency and recognize the light in your presence. So trust what's awakening. Don't downplay your gifts to make others comfortable. Don't shrink to fit spaces you've outgrown. This is your season to embrace the supernatural truths about who you are. You are not broken. You are gifted. You are not crazy. You are called. You are not late. You are right on divine time. Your gifts are not here to entertain. They are here to heal, to elevate, to awaken. And now that you're walking in awareness, heaven is ready to use you. Chapter 6: Ego Death and the Rebirth of Your Authentic Self. Chosen one, there comes a point in every awakening journey when you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. The things that once excited you now feel meaningless. The titles, the trophies, the applause, they no longer move you. The identity you once worked so hard to build starts to crumble. It feels like a breakdown, but it's really a breakthrough. This is the sacred process known as ego death, a stripping away of every version of yourself that was built on survival, trauma, fear, and false validation. And yes, it feels like dying, because in a very real way, it is. The false self is dying. The self that believed worth was earned. The self that sought approval at the cost of authenticity. The self that performed for love remained silent to keep peace, or settled for less to avoid being alone. This version of you cannot come into your promised land. It cannot carry the weight of your calling. It must be laid to rest. But on the other side of this death is resurrection. From the ashes of the ego, your authentic self begins to rise. The real you, the divine, fearless, radiant version who isn't defined by trauma, culture, or expectation, emerges with power and clarity. You begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You realize you are not your job, not your past, not your pain. You are a soul on a divine assignment, wrapped in flesh for a moment, yet eternal in essence. This rebirth is raw, it's vulnerable. It may bring tears, solitude, and confusion, but it also brings peace, the kind of peace that surpasses all understanding. You begin to feel whole, even when you're alone. You begin to feel rich, even with less. You begin to love yourself without condition, without needing anyone else to confirm your worth. You no longer move from fear. You move from faith. You no longer react out of pain. You respond with presence. You no longer strive for validation. You simply exist in truth. And from that truth, everything begins to align. Your voice finds power. Your presence gains weight. Your life becomes sacred ground. So don't resist the ego death. Don't try to resurrect what God is burying. Let go of the mask. Let go of the performance. Let go of the fear. You are not losing yourself. You are finally coming home to who you've always been beneath the noise. This is the real you, the chosen one, the awakened soul, the light in the dark, and the world has been waiting for you to rise. Chapter 7. You realize you're not alone. You're one of the chosen. As your awakening deepens and the illusions begin to fall away, a sacred truth begins to rise within you, like a quiet but undeniable flame. You start to realize that everything you endured, the loneliness, the confusion, the deep inner aching, was never random. It was the divine shaping you, carving you, preparing you. You were never crazy. You were never too much. You were never broken. You were called, chosen by divine intelligence, marked long before this life, set apart for a mission bigger than your mind could grasp when you first awakened. You're one of the chosen ones, sent here not just to exist, but to shift, to carry light in places that forgot the sun, to be the living proof that healing is real and truth still breathes. You were born different because you carry something different, a frequency, a vibration, a blueprint from heaven itself. You didn't come to follow the crowd, you came to redirect by it. You've always felt the pull, the sense that something greater was calling you, louder than the noise of the world. And even when you tried to ignore it, life kept breaking you open until you finally listened. The trials, they were initiation, the heartbreaks, sacred teachers. Every time you were rejected, you were being redirected. Every time you were isolated, you were being elevated. Because in the wilderness, the chosen are forged. You weren't meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to be aligned with the divine. And that alignment often requires detachment from the illusions, distractions, and false connections of this world. And now, you're remembering. You didn't just wake up for yourself. You woke up for generations before you, and generations to come. You're the curse breaker, the light bearer, the spiritual leader for those still trapped in darkness. You're the voice they tried to silence, the spirit they couldn't cage, the presence they couldn't explain, but couldn't ignore. Because your energy doesn't whisper, it just echoes. And here's the miracle: you are not alone. There are others like you, walking quietly, humbly, powerfully. They may not be loud, but they're present. They may be scattered, but they are connected. Through spirit, through purpose, through divine alignment. You're part of a sacred remnant, a soul tribe chosen to carry the new consciousness into an old, dying system. So, if you've ever wondered, why me? It's because your soul was built for the fire and blessed to rise from the ashes. You are rising now, not with ego, but with remembrance. Not to dominate, but to illuminate. Not to impress, but to impact. Chosen one, your time is now. Walk forward in that truth, and don't look back. Embrace your spiritual awakening. Chosen one, listen. You're not losing your mind. You're rediscovering your soul. You're not falling apart. You're realigning with truth. This isn't punishment. It's preparation. A sacred transformation is unfolding. The world's noise is quieting so your spirit can speak. The confusion is clearing. Illusions are breaking. The version of you built on fear is fading. So take a breath. Feel the ground beneath you. You are not alone, even when it feels like no one understands. This is your cocoon phase, where isolation brings revelation and silence becomes sacred. Trust the process. Trust the shedding. Trust the pain that teaches, the silence that speaks, the path that winds. It is all working for your becoming. Surrender to the transformation. Let the old identities fade. Let the masks fall. Let the ego dissolve, because the version of you that was shaped by survival, fear, and limitation, that version has completed its assignment. It did its job, it kept you alive. But now, you are being called to thrive. The old you had to die, so the divine you could finally rise. The you that is rooted in truth, grounded in purpose, and guided by spirit. Chosen one. This is your spiritual rebirth. And on the other side of this awakening is power, clarity, and a mission only you can fulfill.